What is going on? I want to thank you for coming by to Vape with a Viking. So we got something completely different for you. This is not a, product review. It's not an atomizer. It's not a mod. We're going to do something a little different. And if you've watched the TRV Crew show on Friday, 7:30 Central, I've shown this a couple times. Plus, I've also shown it in the TRV Crew Discord as well. So anytime anybody needs help with this, I'm all over it. And what we're talking about is how to mix bottle shots. So this is for any manufacturer out there. Specifically, I am going to go over, of course, Darkstars, because they are in my opinion, about the easiest and ones that I'm the most used to doing constantly. So we're going to teach you today how to take this and turn it into something like this. So yeah, these, just get some specs out of the way. When you buy a bottle shot from them, you are going to get this. And what a bottle shot is a 20 to 25%, depending on the flavor, a full concentrate, usually about 50 milligrams. So you're going to get this, and then you're of course going to get this. That's your low cap for after you're done there. So the advantages of course, a bottle shot is most of their bottle shots are anywhere from about 9 pounds sterling up to 13 pounds sterling. But by the time it's all said and done, you have 250 mils of e-liquid. And I'm going to show you two different methods. There's going to be a method A, which is more for my US customers or customers who like to mix on their own and already have most to all these supplies in mass quantities, so easier for them. And I'm also going to show you method B, which what I would call is a non-DIY, approach to how to mix a bottle shot. And what that's going to entail is you're going to have something that's called a base mix from Darkstar or from anywhere else, and your nick, or a, nick shot. Not familiar with how the UK nick goes, or of course US, you're a bottle of nick. And that's all you're going to do is you're going to use your bottle shot, untainted. You're going to put your nick in, and you're going to put your base mix in. Boom. Simple, easy, done. Technically, it is a little more costly doing it that way, but also, the other kind of con to doing it the other way is you will have to buy possibly massive amounts of VG, PG, NIC, and all the supplies I'm going to show you when I drop down. But eventually, that kind of really starts evening itself out, because at first initial investment, it's going to be a little expensive, but it's going to last you quite a while. Most of the supplies that I get, I order every couple months, and I mix at least a dozen bottle shots roughly a month, sometimes a little less. I don't think ever really any more than a dozen. That's a lot. But so let's go ahead and dive down. I'm going to show you all the tools you need to mix your own Darkstar bottle shot. Okay, so what I'm showing you here is I'm going to go over these items real quickly, one at a time. Don't have to get exactly the same stuff I have, but this is kind of, if you want to replicate what I'm doing, here's what's going to happen. So this is going to be your scale. This is for your super accurate. This is usually what most people use for mixing, but we're of course going to use it for bottle shot mixing. So one thing you're definitely looking for on your scale specifically, this is more for when you're doing like your DIY stuff. It does definitely help with bottle shot mixing, but more accurately for DIY. And you're going to look for a couple features. First thing you're going to look at is you will want what they call like a 2 decimal point position type of scale. Main reason why is some of your DIY recipes and even some of the calculations I use for Darkstar bottle shots, you might need your nick level at 3 milligrams might be 7.77. So if you want to be super accurate, this is kind of scale to get because the fact that it can get all 3 decimals basically, or the 2 decimals. But it also has this little feature here, which is tar. And what that'll do for you is, real quickly, I will throw a bottle shot on here. And as you'll see, it's 81.49 grams roughly. Let's say you're adding your stuff in there and you only need to add a couple grams or milliliters to your bottle. Well, instead of having to guess or do calculation on yourself, if you hit that tar, and then you add more weight to it, like this, it automatically zeroes that out and then adds only what you're putting back on your scale. So that's why I would definitely recommend this type of scale. In case you're wondering, here is, of course, this scale's model number, LB501 digital scale. There's a lot number, and it is AWS. A lot of mixers use this scale. All right, then a couple other things you may or may not need, I tend to because I mix a lot all at once, is a couple beakers. It's like a 250 ml beaker, 50 ml beaker. The reason why I use this the most of with my calculation on most Darkstar bottles, you need roughly almost 20 milliliters of your PG. So I just go ahead and put this up to 20, maybe even a little over 20, but then on the scale, pour and check. It's just easier than trying to pour like out of a bottle. And then this is probably going to be one of the most important tips I can give you is your syringes. As you'll see, I have a glass one and then I have two plastic ones. Main reason why is the plastic ones are supposed to be like a one-time use, as they say, single use only. And the main reason why is, especially if you're using nicotine or any chemical that can permeate that plastic, it's kind of contaminated. So what I do to keep it real simple and easy for me is I only use the glass for nicotine. Main reason why is it's glass, it's easy to clean out. You know, you can get it completely sterile clean. So this is, for me, always nic, unless you're using some kind of nic shots or something like that. And then we go over to this one. This one, as you see, it's a much bigger gauge tip. I use this for the VG because the fact it is a bigger tip. And then I use this one for PG, and you can tell it's a very thinner gauge because VG is definitely way more viscous or thicker than PG. But if you don't want to deal with these, that's why I definitely say invest in the beakers or some kind of glass graduated cylinder, something like that. But even with even me having the two different glass beakers, I still constantly use this for nic no matter what. And main reason why is because, like I said, it's almost 8 milliliters for a 3 milligram bottle shot. So this goes up to 10, works perfect for me. Okay, now other supplies, this is going to be method A. This is if you have all your own supplies. So what we have here is your vegetable glycerin. And yes, I buy it by the gallon. And as you can see, it's about time for another order. It's kind of hard to see in there, but it's about a quarter of a gallon left. Then, of course, your propylene glycol as well. And if you are here in the US, I definitely recommend this brand right here, Wizard Labs. Been doing really, really well for me. And then, last but not least, we'll go into nic. The only reason I'm touching this without gloves is because it's brand new, sealed, all that. We will be using gloves. I don't have them out right now. But yes, that is another thing on your supply list, gloves. This stuff, whether it's nic salts or traditional nicotine, if you get it in your hands, it's going to absorb into your skin quick and in a hurry. And that's a nic rush. But anyway, either salts or regular nic, either way, a lot of people are scared about this. If you mix your salts just like you do regular nic, yes, there is such a thing as 3 milligram nic salt juice. You can vape nic salts at high wattages. We get caught up, especially here in the US, that nic salts are for the 25, 30, 45, 50 milligram devices, stuff like that. No, you can 3 milligram if you mix it yourself. So I use salts, and as you can see here, it is PG, and it's 100 milligrams per milliliter. This is important as well, whether you're using salts or not, to figure out what your nic strength is, because that will affect your numbers and measurements. All right, last but definitely not least, and this is going to be for essentially all that other stuff, except for, of course, your nicotine, was for method A. This is going to be for method B. Method B, you're going to have a base mix, and they carry two different versions. You have a 70-30 blend, and then they have another just high VG base mix. What I would recommend, especially if you are not very fluent in mixing, I would consider if you do 70-30, this is if you're going to be mixing for like MTL and you want a thinner juice, because roughly it's about 60-40, getting close to 50-50 if you just take the bottle shot, the nic, and then use this as your base mix. If you get the other version, which is the high VG, you just use your nic, the bottle shot, and then of course your high VG base mix. And then that's going to roughly turn you into about the 70-30, 75-25 range in there. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started with method A. Now, method A, this is, of course, the math or calculation. I can't tell you exactly where to go on Google, but you can Google your calculators for this. So, but what it is roughly is you got your nicotine. These are your milliliters. If you want to do milliliters, this does grams, which is more accurate. So you're looking at your nic, you need 7.5 milliliters or 7.77. This says 2. But as you can see, this is doesn't have that many digits to it. So what I will be doing is only 2 digits. So it'll be 7.77. Your PG, 17.5 milliliters or 18.13. Your BG, 175 milliliters or 220.67. And doing 3 milligram overall with 100 milligram nicotine. And of course, the final ratio being 70-30. So again, if you like an 80-20 or if you want something even thinner, that math you'll have to do on your own. And I'll show you that on here. You're going to take your bottle shot here. First, take off the lid. And then again, with one of these scales, like you see, that is 100 grams. You're going to go ahead and clear it so that you're completely at 0. So anything you add to it is going to show you on here. So what I like to do is I like to add my thin ingredients first, and then we're going to give it some shakes and stuff like that, and then we'll do some of the VG. So we're going to, of course, I got gloves. You need your gloves because we are going to be messing with the nicotine. So to do this at a 3 milligram, it is going to be 7.5 milliliters or 7.77 grams on your scale. Give your nic a little shaky. Make sure there's no hot liquid in there first. And what I mean by hot liquid is there's not just like a little concentration of nicotine that's like either starting to separate or it's actually more potent. All right, so like I said, we're going to do a 7.77. So we'll watch the scale here. To begin with, I just get to going, then I start slowing down. Because you will start seeing eventually drops will make a difference of weight. All right, just went a touch over. Now, one thing I will tell you, if you are a perfectionist, this will annoy you. For me, it does not bug me. I get it well within its range, and I've never had a problem with that. So don't think if you're at this point, your very first step, and you need to be at 7.77 and you're at 7.9, you've ruined it completely. You haven't. You're completely fine. Just it's gonna happen. Don't freak out. So I put in the nic, and then of course I go to my propylene glycol, which shows at 17.5 or 18.13. So I will clear this right here, and then this is where I use one of my small beakers, so I don't have to use a syringe. I go up to about 20 milliliters here because we're gonna use a little less than that, but it's easier to do it that way. So 18.13. Here we go. And of course, there we go. Went over again. Jeez. Yes, I'm terrible at this. But what I do at this point in time, I go ahead and I cap it. Now, what I used to do is I would cap it, shake it up really well, get the scale ready to go all over again, this and that. But I'm going to show you a little trick here. So we're going to shake the piss out of this real quick. All right, and now instead of measuring my VG like I used to, this is where you can use the bigger beaker, or if you're feeling adventurous enough, straight out of the bottle, you will pour your VG in. Now what I do to make sure everything gets incorporated all nice and neat, and there are instructions on these bottles, is I go up to roughly the label, very edge of the label. And then, for at least a couple minutes or so, shake the hell out of it again. All right, so all shook up here. Definitely looks completely different now. On camera, it's a little more white. There's almost like a little more of a tan tinge in person. But basically, vigorously for about 2 minutes, you're gonna get that nice, almost cream liquid look into it. And then, all we're gonna do is take the VG and get close to the base of the neck and shake it again for about a minute or so. But that is it on method A. very simple, especially once I figured out that I did not have to keep measuring all of that VG. Huge, huge difference. So, put that back on there, give it a shake for a bit, and then let it sit. Now this, all the Darkstar Bottle Shots have the little box here, and like it'll say here, is 2 weeks steep time. Now, as at least for my taster and, you know, the wife's taster, she's the one that is a huge blueberry muffin fan. So if you've ever seen MTL Barbie out there, that is definitely my wife. She likes 3 months on this stuff, which I'll agree. It makes it very, very good. So we're looking at the record date is 12/6. You can either write 12/6 if you wanted to on here, or you can write your time you know it's going to be done. So in 3 months, we're looking at March 6th. So we'll put 3/6 on this guy. That method is completely up to you, 100%. However you want to do that. All right, now we're on to method B. This could be what I would say either a UK that has more access to like the base mix or a non-mixing type of customer for Darkstar. So all we're going to do with this is we are going to put the nick in it, and then we are just going to top it with base mix. So like I said again though, just reminded, this is going to be a thinner base mix. I'm essentially for the first time ever making this into more of an MTL liquid. So instead of the 7.77 3 milligram nick measurement I normally do, we're going to do 15.55, which is going to roughly make this a 6 milliliter nick salt. So again, put it on the scale. You want to clear your weight, open up your nick here, and of course using the same glass syringe that you used previously or a brand new plastic syringe, either way, just want to make sure you either got something clean or something new to do this with. Now this only does 10 milliliters, so we're just going to dump this whole thing in first before we even pay attention to the gram weight. So we're going to go to 15.55, which is roughly about 16 milliliters. Pretty darn close there. Now, why this method is going to be completely different than what you're used to, or I should say what you're used to on method A if you use method A, is we're going to go ahead and give this nick and concentrate a good shake. And then, instead of all the other measurements of PG and VG and all that other good stuff here, you're just going to take your Darkstar base mix and just pour it in. Now what you want to do, like I do with the other mix method, is you want to go up to the top of your label, stop, give it a nice good shake to make sure it's all incorporated. And this is like that 2-minute long shake. All right, so as you can see already, it's a bit darker already. Mainly because the concentrate's a little darker, but you also have more nicotine in there as well. So, like method A, once you get to that level, you'll want to just top it off to right at that neck. All right, that should be nice and incorporated, and it's going to be kind of hard to tell now because they're kind of cloudy and all that stuff and just mixed. But if you know anything about mixing, you'll see kind of how the bubble's a little slower to move in this one, and then you come over here and it's pretty much flowing like water. I barely kind of touch it and it's already wanting to go from one side to the other. So you can definitely tell there is a VG difference, that this is definitely thicker. So this is going to be thinner, more for like an MTL. So, all right, let's go back up top. All right, so those were two, I would say, tried and true methods on how to mix a bottle shot from Darkstar. Like I said, method A, more involved, more supplies you need, but a little more what you can control. You can control exactly what, if you want to do, like I said, 70-30, 75-25, 80-20, 90-10. You can mix it however you want to. If you like 3.6 milligram juices, you can even do that way. So that is definitely the tinkerer or mixer point of view. A little more upfront cost to begin with, but again, when you buy the stuff more in bulk, it kind of starts saving you money in the long run because you're literally mixing up 250 milliliters at a time. And then, of course, method B is more, in my opinion, for people who want to try Darkstar, and want bottle shots, not just like their short fills or their sample sizes and stuff like that, and just don't want to be bothered with a scale and this and that. I mean, it's definitely a much quicker method, but is a little more costly in the long run. So especially here in the US, because we do have to be mindful of their shipping to the US is super fast, but it is weight based. So if you're getting 5, 6, 7 bottle shots of just a little bit of concentrate in there, you start adding a couple bottles of base mix, that will add some weight. So definitely depends on location, budget, and how you want to do it. But of course, right now I'm running some scones. Definitely some scones in the Asgard Mini on the Fishbone Mods custom Scorpion box here. And yeah, if you haven't tried Darkstar, like I said, they do have options of sample kits and they have options of short fills. So all you have to do is add in your nick. Definitely give them a try. There are a plethora of flavors that me and the wife, so my household, definitely enjoy. You know, Relentless Purple Monster, Blueberry Muffin, couple faves for her. Of course, me, Lobotomy, Zolo. I'll go on for probably another 20 minutes, but we won't do that. We'll keep this as short as possible. But yeah, definitely if you have any question whatsoever about how to do bottle shots, how to order from Darkstar, any of that kind of stuff, please don't hesitate. Drop me a line. I'm on Facebook, YouTube, of course, Instagram, Twitter. I tend to get back as soon as possible. Sometimes a little harder because of work schedule. Or even get a hold of Mike Green. They even have a Darkstar Facebook group. Almost everybody on there can at least give you their 2 cents on any questions from Darkstar. Even, hey, I like this flavor. These are the kind of flavors I vape. Yeah, what did they have? And there will be a plethora of people like Graham, Adam, a whole bunch of guys out there and gals ready to help you out. Zoe, don't want to forget Zoe. She likes the fruit stuff. So. But yeah, that is all I got today. I just want to thank each and every one of you yet again for coming to Vape with a Viking and some Darkstar. And we'll catch you later.